All right, we're back. Canto 9. So in Canto 8, we crossed over the Styx, and in the Styx, we saw Filippo Reggenti, who Dante knew, whom Dante knew, and pushes him back into the Styx and says, "You need to stay there. This is the place for you," which is in stark contrast to the fainting with pity or compassion for the previous saints that we've seen, namely Chaco and Francesca. So now we're on the other side of the Styx. We are in what Virgil very briefly referred to as the gate to lower hell. So we've been in upper hell. We're about to go into lower hell, and but the demons here on the city wall are putting up a fuss. Right? They're fighting. Virgil went to speak with them. They shut the gate in his face, and he's coming back. And that's where we pick up with Canto 9. The color cowardice brought to my face, seeing my own leader turning back around, caused him to restrain his own more quickly, his own color. Attentive, he stood stock still, listening, for keenest eye could not far drive its gaze through the black air and through the heavy fog. Still, it is fitting that we win this fight, he said. If not, but such was offered us. Oh, how slow it seems that others should come. Indeed, I saw well how he covered up his beginning with that which came after, words different than he intended at first. Nonetheless, fear grew from his changing speech, for I gathered from the truncated words worse meaning than perhaps they truly held. Has any come before to this sad ditch from that level above where dwell the souls who suffer only from a cut-off hope? Right? Has anybody from the first circle, namely you, where you, Virgil, live, has anybody come here before from that place? That's what Dante's asking. This question asked, he answered in this way. It rarely happens that any of us make this journey that we here jointly take. Though it is true, I have been here before, conjured by the cruel witch queen Erichtho, who summoned shades back to their own bodies. Soon after I was stripped of flesh by death, she forced me to enter within that wall and draw out from Judica a spirit. Judica is one of the circles in the ninth, or one of the regions in the ninth circle, way down at the bottom. That is the deepest place, and darkest too, furthest from that heaven that turns all things. Take comfort. Well I know the path below. This marsh that belches forth this dreadful stench circles round about the doleful city, where we cannot now enter without wrath. More he said that I cannot bring to mind, for my eyes then fixed all my attention on the high tower's fierce and flaming peak, where suddenly stood straight up 3 furies, hell-born and blood-washed, on top of the wall. Their members and gestures were of women, with bright green hydras girding their midriffs, little serpents and horned snakes as forelocks fastened tight about their savage temples. And he who knew from before these handmaids of the queen of eternal weeping said, Behold there, the ferocious Erinyes. That's another word for furies. She on the left corner is Megara. She that weeps on the right is Alecto. Tisiphone between, and was silent. Each one ripped at her breasts with her own nails, beating themselves with fists, shrieking so high I pressed myself to the poet in doubt. Let come Medusa and turn him to stone, they all said, looking down. Our revenge on the war of Theseus was poorly made. Turn round and hide your face. If the Gorgon shows herself and you see her, never would you return to the sunlit lands above. Yes, that's a brief allusion to Silverchair by Lewis. But it's a good translation of what Dante's saying too. So spoke my master, and he himself turned me round and left me not to my own hands, but protected me with his own as well. O you that possess a sound intellect, wonder at the teaching that hides itself beneath the thick veil of these strange verses. This is a fascinating tercet. So Dante is telling the story, They're about to bring Medusa, the head of Medusa, in order to turn Dante into stone because um, they're still uh, they're still bitter about their defeat during the War of Theseus, and so Virgil says, "Quick, hide here," and Virgil covers Dante's eyes and bends over him, protecting him so that if even if Dante opened his eyes, he could not see the Gorgon. And then Dante stops and says, "O you that possess a sound intellect, wonder at the teaching that hides itself beneath the thick veil of these strange verses." What is he saying? Well, a couple different things. Essentially, Dante is telling us a story that has a meaning that is behind a veil, right? What is the veil? The veil of the literal story. Behind it lies a deeper meaning that he is wanting us to always pay attention to. The allegorical telling, the allegorical story. What does this mean symbolically? What does this mean metaphorically? What is the deeper meaning here beyond the surface level of the literal journey? Is the literal journey important? Of course it is, right? This is a literal journey. This is happening in space and time for Dante the Pilgrim. But he says there is a deeper meaning here too. And I want you, reader, to wonder at it. I want you to stop and meditate and contemplate and think about, what does this mean? In what way does Virgil, who represents natural law, who represents everything that we can know apart from special revelation, all the truth that is in God's world, how does that protect us from whatever the Gorgon represents? How does that protect us? How does that offer real protection? It doesn't save us. The knowledge we gain from the world, from natural law, is not enough to save our souls, but it does offer real protection. If you live with the grain of God's creation, you will be blessed. If you live across the grain, if you cut across the grain, if you dismiss the natural laws that God has, with which God has made the world, the natural laws by which the world is governed, if you dismiss that, if you disregard that, well, then you're going to keep running up into the brick wall of reality, and you're going to hurt your nose, right? Obviously, that's an understatement. You're going to destroy yourself. And so, what is Dante pointing to here? Even someone like Virgil offers real protection. Not redemptive protection, not salvific redemption or protection, not everlasting protection, but real protection nonetheless. Then all at once, over the turbid waves came a fracasing of sound, full of fear, at which the Stygian banks violently shook, not unlike that made by the firestorm wind, impetuous in its high hostile heat, burning down forests without resistance, crashing branches, razing all to the ground. Before its dust cloud, it proudly rages, putting to fast flight both beasts and shepherds. He, being Virgil, he removed his hands from my eyes and said, "Now brace yourself, and set your face to see across that ancient froth and bitter smoke. As frogs before their foe, the savage snake, quick vanish themselves beneath the water till each finds safe keeping on the dry earth, so I saw more than 1,000 wrecked souls escaping from before one who, on foot, was crossing over the Styx with dry souls." He removed the greasy air from his face, often waving his left hand as he walked. Of this annoyance alone he seemed tired. Right? So here's coming, this is a heavenly angel, coming over the Styx, walking over the Styx, keeping his feet dry. And the only thing he's discomfited by, the only thing he's concerned with, the only thing that he's annoyed by is this greasy air. So hell poses no threat whatsoever to this angel. And the only thing that's annoying him is the greasy black air that's getting in his face. It's like a man walking through a thing of flies. He's like, ugh, all these flies. He's not afraid of them. He's not quivering at their presence. He's just annoyed at them and is trying to bat them away. Indeed, it was clear he was heaven sent. As I turned to my master, he motioned to me to keep silent and bow to him who approached. How full of disdain he seemed. He came to the door with the small scepter, opening it without the least effort. "Oh, hunted from heaven, despised people," he began on the horrible threshold, "what entices this arrogance in you? Why do you continue to scorn that will, the ends of which can never be cut short, that has these many times increased your pain? What use is it to kick against your fate? Your own Cerberus, you will remember, still exhibits a skinned chin and gullet." Turning himself along the filthy way, he left without a word spoken to us, but as one whom other cares press and bite more closely than the cares of another, and we moved our feet toward that city, confident, following the holy words. So he comes and just berates them, like, "What are you guys doing? Why are you such idiots? Why do you kick against the goads? You know you can't change God's will. You know you can't do anything in to God's despite. You know you can't alter or corrupt the will of God. Why do you fight? Why do you just increase your pain? You're idiots," right? That's the tenor of the angel's remarks. We entered within without any war, and I, eager to see what it could be that such a fortress secured, as soon as I came inside, cast my eye around me and saw a stretching plain on every side, full of grief and unholy agony. Such as at Arles, where the Rhone stagnates, such as at Pola, near the Carnaro that closes Italy, soaking her bounds. Sepulchres make every place uneven. So too they were doing here, on all sides, only the manner here was more bitter. For the flames were scattered among the tombs, in which they were so completely engulfed, such that no art asks for iron more hot. All their covers were suspended above, and from each one escaped laments so hard, they seemed indeed of the wretched and pained. And I said, "Master, what are these people who, having been buried within these arks, make themselves heard with their sorrowful sighs?" He answered, "Here are the heresiarchs, with their followers from every faction. These tombs shut up more than you would believe. Of each kind, like with like is buried here. The monuments are hot, some more, some less. Then, having turned himself round to the right, we passed between the martyrs and high walls." Again, here we have this word martiri, which is a pun in the Italian. It means both punishments and martyrs. And I'm using the word martyr similarly to what I did back in Canto 5 with the martyrdom of Francesca, but for a specific reason. I think Dante is identifying something interesting about heresiarchs and those who not only develop heresies, but then follow them as well. But we'll save that till the next video when we read Canto 10 and meet Farinata and Cavalcanti, who are in the tomb of Epicurus, because they are Epicureans, which was a heresy. But we'll talk about that then. So, till then, next time.